Good morning. Good morning to everyone out there in the cloud or wherever you are. I had the good fortune last Friday to participate in the abbreviated Rohatsu Sesshin with the larger community, the larger Sangha. Caden was there as well. He was very helpful keeping us online and in line. I think there were 7 people in the building at the Appleton, or the Zen River Sangha, and about 30 total, all over the world. Pardon me. The tech master was in Abu Dhabi, so he was yesterday when we were today, and we had people in at least 4 in Canada. There was a woman in Spain, people in different states. So they were all over the place. It was remarkable and a little peculiar to be virtual. And when it was time for me to give my talk, people hurriedly set up a seat for me and moved the 2 monitors around, and there were, my vision isn't the best, so I was talking. Clearly the people in the room could hear me, but there was these 2 screens of little tiny faces. Who's that? And somebody, when I was done, there was time for Q&A, and somebody spoke up, and I said, "Who is that?" It was so interesting. It was so interesting. And I'm sure it will happen again in some way, shape, or form. It was very well organized, very well done. And that we sitting in Appleton communicated to someone in Abu Dhabi, who communicated to somebody, I think in Ohio, Cleveland maybe, who communicated to somebody back in Appleton, so that we could talk to each other, is pretty remarkable. It's just, people in this room understand that this is way above my pay grade. So there was a lot of trust involved, that I wasn't just talking to a screen of little photographs. I only bring it up to tell the story of some of the story of the experience. One of the things I used in my talk was the expression that I've often used and like so very much, which goes like this. It says that what is most essential is the practice of mindful awareness, which enables us to understand, transform, and transcend greed, anger, and ignorance. And based on my understanding, my training, that's the whole show. With all due respect to anybody who can read and transliterate Chinese or Japanese, and who can read the Paramita Sutra backwards and upside down, and who's gone through every single koan that ever existed, with all due respect, because I can't do any of those things. If I am not self-aware, the train has left the station, I've missed the boat. What is most essential is the practice of mindful awareness, which enables us to understand, transform, and transcend greed, anger, and ignorance. Am I paying attention to my thoughts, words, and deeds? Am I in integrity and consistent with how I live my life? Am I aware of the impact of myself on other people, on the whole Sangha, which is everybody in the world? Somebody sitting in their living room in Peru this morning is part of the Sangha. We are all the Sangha. What is most essential is the practice of mindful awareness. Well, what does that mean? When I have an emotional experience, when I have particularly a darker experience, greed, anger, or ignorance, those are the big ones that the Buddha identified for us. Those are opportunities to look at me, look at my stuff. Those are we joke about in practice. You know, so and so I was talking to and I got all upset, and then I realized, wait, that's about me. Thank you, teacher. Emotional triggers, emotional charges that I have in interacting with someone or with something abstract. Politics, economics, football. All those emotional charges and impulses are practice opportunities. Give me the opportunity to be aware of what's going on inside emotionally. What's going on that I would be bothered by this? What's going on that this is so important to me that I'm going to engage in some loud conversation or push away a friendship? It's all about me. What is most essential is the practice of mindful awareness, which is an invitation to be as conscious as I can be of when I'm triggered, when I'm bothered, when something is arising in me that interferes with my happiness, my peace of mind. And critically, not to repress it, not to suppress it, but to look at it and say, oh yeah. Parents know that one really well, because kids will often say, in response to the question, what's wrong? They'll say, nothing. Right? Well, that's bullshit. Children say that because they don't know what else to say. They don't have the emotional language. They don't have the emotional maturity. They're afraid of getting in trouble. But if somebody's acting out or somebody's had a major mood shift, there's something going on. So we can kind of give kids a pass, but not adults, and certainly not myself. I am responsible to know what's going on in me. What is most essential is the practice of mindful awareness. And when I'm triggered, when I'm bothered, it's a practice opportunity so that I can learn more about me. And to split the hair a little bit finer, I was thinking of this in that context. I can't think of anybody that I've encountered or spent significant time with that I would say I don't like. Can't think of anybody. There probably has been somebody along the way. But I certainly have encountered and spent significant time with people who I disagree with, or who I think are confused and lost and antagonistic and all judgments that I have about them. But that's me. That's not about them. That's about me. What an asshole. It's like talking to myself. So is it possible to be unconditionally available to everybody? To be patient and kind and understanding enough to recognize that that charge that I have with another person is teaching me something or offering me something I can learn. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? There are probably people in this vast world, because I'm getting older and I've encountered thousands and thousands of people in my life by this point. There probably is somebody who doesn't like me, or doesn't respect me, or doesn't think very highly of me. I'm not saying it's true, but it's probable, just based on the law of large numbers. And when that thought crosses my mind from time to time, as it does, I want to meet that person. I'm serious. What's your beef? You know, to help me understand why you don't like me, so that I can be a better human being. Or maybe there isn't anybody. I don't know. You might know. Might be you. So every opportunity, every charge, every emotional charge from this point of view is an opportunity to learn and grow. Every charge is an opportunity to learn and grow, whether it's your family or your children or your boss or somebody in a store. It's always a chance to learn about you, for me to learn about me. It's a gas. It's a lot of fun. It's interesting. And maybe do something nice as a result of it. That so-and-so that took too long at the checkout counter, or all these little minor annoyances that we have in this privileged world that we live in. It's very, very interesting to me. So the long and the short of it is, the message is the invitation is to notice when you're triggered, to notice what that's really about, and to see if it's true that when you're triggered, when we are triggered, it's about us, it's about me. And to dig into that, see, does this have something to do with prior experience, prior relationships with a family I grew up in, with other employment, whatever. It's something in me. And I judge that becomes easier if we practice Zazen. Thank you.